And we're back. And it's been a while. This might be the longest I've ever gone without making a video. Wasn't planned on. I kind of got just doing some things, man. I really just started fishing a lot. We had a lot of breaks over the summer. Like, just some weird things. We had a little flooding down here. Some tournaments got rescheduled. So, yeah, I was fishing, but not really fishing tournaments. And I'm allowed to make a lot more videos when that's not going on. But here lately, it was just a bunch of stuff. Some weird stuff, too, happened. Anyways, but I'm back. And I was out this weekend fishing again. And something else brought up. I've never done a video about this. I don't know why. And you're going to be like, oh, great. Sunglass video. Yeah, but listen, hear me out on this sunglass deal. The sunglasses might catch me more fish. It's on up there. It's on up there with how many fish I catch because of my sunglasses. And I'm not like repping Costas or anything. I'm just being honest, and I'm gonna explain why. You know, everyone's always trying to promote sunglasses for this and for that and a whole bunch of different reasons. And people are gonna buy sunglasses for different, reasons. I bought them for one reason only when I first started. Man, I was a young kid that didn't care about, like, am I really gonna care about eye protection and all that stuff? No, I really bought them for one reason. I bought them to look in the water. Like, I wanted to sight fish, right? And that was my main goal, to sight fish. And that's all I really wanted to care about. So I wanted to buy the best glasses. When I was young, I just thought polarized glasses, like, as long as you got polarized glasses, it didn't matter if they were 19 bucks, you're going to be able to see further down the water, which means I could sight fish better. So I went through glasses doing that, right? As I've gotten older, though, I started hearing more and more about, like, Costas, right? So I eventually bought a pair of Costas, like, saved up a whole bunch of money to get one pair. And I was like, oh man, this is, like, there's a difference. If y'all have seen my other videos, I always like the risk reward type deal, right? Like, what's my return on investment, right? And I was like, man, I'll go do good in a sight fishing event and freaking make my money back. And I did. Like, it worked. And so I was like, okay, this is a big deal. I'm gonna make sure I always have good, sunglasses. Well, that was my old way of thinking. Now my new way of thinking is kind of crazy different. And what happened is over the years, and you got to remember, I grew up on Livingston where you couldn't really see very well in the water. So it's kind of a dirty lake. So sunglasses kind of mattered a little bit, but I was really worried about other lakes. Well, now I started going to all over the place. And most lakes really aren't like my old dirty Livingston from back home. So what I figured out is like what I actually see with my sunglasses. And I contributed, this was like my LiveScope. My Costas are like my LiveScope. Like, that was the LiveScope before LiveScope was ever invented. And what would happen is I was always staring into the water, like always looking in the water. And I started seeing things, right? All kinds of stuff. And at first it was just objects, right? And fish. And I was like, man, I could see grass better because I'm down here on Rayburn fishing grass all the time. But when I got to these other lakes, it was like things under the water. Dark spots, light spots, mainly dark spots, like really focusing on things and seeing different, whether it be stumps, tires, old concrete, whatever it was. Like, I started noticing these things so much better, and then realizing how much more fish I could catch off. And remember, we didn't have LiveScope. Even side imaging didn't really matter because we're in, like, say 4 foot or less, right? So it's kind of hard to see some of that stuff. So, and plus, I can't really go side imaging down the bank first and then fish it. I mean, you can, but you're not always going to be able to do that, right? Sometimes, like in tournaments, like I'm always fishing new banks anyways, and so I'm not going to idle that whole bank before, in a tournament, and then go back and fish it. So these sunglasses were really a big deal for me. So I started realizing how many more fish I'd catch a day. Like, whether it's one, maybe just 2, but like, to me, that's a huge deal. Sometimes, some tournaments, it's like 20. Like, I'll get on like something that's like kind of a patterny type deal, and it's 100% just sight, right? Like looking in the water, looking at grass, looking at holes in the grass, whatever it might be. There's all kinds of scenarios, and like it started becoming a bigger deal. So then it was like looking at bait fish, like realizing all the bait. Man, I've seen crawfish down there with my sunglasses. Like, I just really always stare in the water. And it's just one of those deals. Like, I'm always looking. Like, I can't tell you how many times I see fish following baits, things like that. Like, things your LiveScope now shows you But LiveScope still can't show you some of that stuff when you're in really, really shallow water. It doesn't pick up on stuff like that. So my sunglasses were a big deal. Now, let's go back a couple years ago. Costa came out with this new lens, right? Silver Sunrise. Now, when it first came out, obviously, my head goes straight to sight fishing. And what was crazy was, I'll never forget it. So our boss at the time was like, hey, she knew me and my buddy Russell sight fished all the time. And she was like, here, I'm gonna get you pretty much the first Silver Sunrise lenses there are out there. And it just so happens, it was at Toledo Bend and we were sight fishing that weekend for a big tournament. So we were pretty jacked up. We got them. We were like the only 2 people that had them. So we went out to Toledo Bend, and of course, I picked today on purpose. Like, right, if you look up, yeah, we got some storms rolling in and it's cloudy. And once again, we wanted to sight fish that morning, and it was really, really cloudy and dark, right? And so we put them on, and we're like, you know, and I would have 2 pairs of sunglasses, right? I'd have the regular ones I'd always had on, like I probably had some amber lenses or some green lenses. And then I had those, and I would like kind of go back and forth looking at them, seeing like, God, I was like, man, I can't see a lot further with these lenses. But it was, you know, still dark. It was still low light. And so I'm going around and I'm calling Russell up. I'm like, dude, it's crazy, right? Like it's good. He's like, yeah, it's really good. After like 10 minutes of that, you know, your mind gets focused on fishing and sight fishing. So we were going around sight fishing and everything. Well, next thing we know, like I look up and it's like 12 o'clock and it's like bright dead sun, like bright dead sun. And I'm like, oh man, I still got these sunglasses on. Like I need to go back to my regular lenses. And so I switched them. And after like a minute or so, I'm like, I don't think I can see as good. Like I'm gonna go, like, wait a minute. And so I'd go back and forth. I kept on doing it like this. It didn't make sense to me. I'm like, how are these lenses that are brighter, right? In this bright sun out here. I mean, like it was like dead glass and 12 o'clock and like bright sun. I'm like, how are these lenses that get more light in there, right? How can I see better? Like this doesn't make sense. And I called him up and I'm like, hey, can you see better with these like bright lenses? He's like, yeah. Like I'm not taking them off. I'm like, yeah, me neither. So that was it. That was the day that we realized that like, that's all I'm gonna fish with from here on out, no matter what. I don't care if it's dead sunny. So literally, I don't go fishing unless I have Silver Sunrise lenses on. I don't fish in green lenses or any of that other stuff because I've always been able to see out of that. Now I will say, disclaimer, I've heard some people, very few people, I haven't met too many, that some eyes are different, right? And maybe it's too much light for them. But for me and for most of my buddies, like everyone else I know, we all wear Silver Sunrise when we're fishing all the time. And these are bright yellow lenses, right? And so they let more light in than any other lens out there. And you would think that would hurt you, but like Costa does a good job, right? Like they do such a good job. And I'm not going to go in, this isn't going to be one of those boring, I'm going to read you all the details on how the light comes in and how they make their glasses. Like I have freaking pamphlets on that, right? I bring all this up because like I said, that was a sight fishing deal. It always came from sight fishing and then it would turn into regular fishing, right? I got sunglasses like the expensive kind that I thought, you know, is it going to give me that little bit of an edge over everyone else in sight fishing, and then it would transfer over to fishing. So I'm like, great, man, now I wear sunglasses that, you know, I use all the time. Now, are they expensive? Yeah, I guess. I mean, you get what you pay for. My deal is this. Those first pair of Costa sunglasses, I still have. Like, I don't know how many years ago, 15, 12, 15, 14, I don't know. It's a long time ago. I still have them. I actually have every pair of Costa sunglasses I've ever bought or ever owned. I just now, this was the first time. I've never lost a pair of sunglasses, ever. Never lost a pair of Costa sunglasses in my entire life. Never fallen on the water, whatever. I take care of them this way. Man, I had to work really, really hard for that first pair of Costa sunglasses I ever got. Man, I wasn't going to lose those. I wasn't going to misplace them. I wasn't going to break them. So I don't break sunglasses and I don't lose them. I don't misplace them. I'm kind of glad I wouldn't say raised that way, But since I wasn't raised with a silver spoon in my mouth, man, if I went out there and got something, man, I took care of it, and I cherished it, man, like big time. So that stuff still carries over today. So I still have the same Costa sunglasses I've ever had. I have a bunch more now, don't get me wrong, but most of them stay in cases because I just don't use them. I don't have to use them. Like, I just kind of hold on to them to make sure, you know, if I ever need backups for people, because I do lend them out for people and stuff like that all the time. Rarely get scratches on them. I don't drop them that much. I don't break them that much, but Costa does have a great warranty program, so you can get them in and get them replaced. Are they expensive? Yes, I guess, when you look at things, but are they well worth it? Man, something that expensive that I might wear pretty much every day of the year. So 365 days a year, I'm pretty much wearing sunglasses, fishing 100% of the time, and like, I really don't mess them up. Now, you might be a guy who messes them up and breaks them and stuff. I know those guys. That's not me. I did finally break a pair of Costas, man. I did them like 2 weeks ago. Really made me mad, and it was my fault 100%. My kids were playing soccer. My youngest boy always likes to play this game where he throws the ball at my head and I head it back to him, and man, he yelled and threw it hard at me, and I turned around and I just did it without even thinking, and my sunglasses were on my hat and hit my hat, head broke. Like, totally my fault. That's the first time in 15 years. That's the first time I've ever cracked lenses on Costas. Now, the other advantage is this. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had it happen yet. Now, I have had stuff hit my lenses before. They didn't scratch or break or anything. I've had some baits, but I mean, I've seen the aftermath of guys with like flipping weights and stuff, and with bullet weights and stuff, when they pull back and it shoots up out of the water. I've seen them, man, and they will break them. Like, they will break, but they'll break almost any sunglasses, right? But they will protect your eye. They will, like, every one of those guys was fine. Like, they didn't have a single problem. It broke the glass, it broke the lenses, didn't freaking hurt their eye. So I mean, is that worth saving an eye? Yeah, pretty much. So everyone's always asking me, hey, what frame do I need to go get? No clue. Okay, I wear a couple frames. Like, I love Tuna Alleys. These are Ticos. They don't even make Ticos with this lens anymore. I'm not really happy about that, but I love Half Moons too. Reefton's a good one. I don't wear Reeftons, but there's a ton of good ones. Here's what you do: go to a place that sells Costas. This is the best thing, and just try on their frames and figure out. You'll understand when you do this. Try on every single frame, and that's what we still do. I just try on frames, and all of a sudden, some will look good, you know, some won't look good, but it won't matter. What'll happen is you'll put one on, and for whatever reason, I cannot explain this, one will be like, oh, like it will fit so perfect you won't even realize. The other ones will feel okay, and then you'll put one on and like, man, these don't even feel like I have sunglasses. Those are the frames you want. I promise you, those are the ones you get. If you're fishing a lot and stuff, try the Silver Sunrise, guys. I promise you. Don't get weirded out about the yellow lens if you haven't tried them. All of us, everyone in the fishing community, like all of us use those to sight fish, but then we end up just fishing nonstop with them. Never done a video on sunglasses, guys. Thought I would. Thought I'd share like my thoughts on them. I'm sure some guys are going to talk about, you know, all this other stuff. I didn't say there's not other good sunglasses out there. I'm just telling you, it's what I've been doing for years, man, and they're well worth it. Anyways, I promise I'll get back to making some more videos. I got some lined up. See y'all.